Right, team, in this video, I'm going to go over the biggest mistake that men who travel for work make, and it's believing that you need a perfect routine before you can get the results that you're after, right? And I've lost over 10 kilos myself whilst I was traveling for work, and I've helped countless men do the same, if not more, without waiting for that kind of perfect routine to come about, without waiting for life to become more predictable. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to focus on instead so you can stop starting over after every single work trip. And we'll cover awareness, mindset, planning, prioritization, and a simple system that will create consistency for you, even when work, travel, life is all over the place. Okay, so I've got 10 things. 10 things I'm going to go over. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet, but I feel like this video is going to be super useful. This podcast, wherever you listen to it, is going to be really, really useful. All right. So the first one, we need to plan ahead. We can't go into anything expecting for it to go well if we haven't planned ahead. All right. And we need to plan the week, not just the day. We can't just plan that travel day. We need to plan everything around it. All right. Because our travel schedule will change. There's always going to be a bit of change when it comes to it. But the daily plans will often fall apart and change. And by being able to look across the whole week, it means we can be more flexible. All right. And the weekly plans, when we make weekly plans, they're going to be more resilient because we can have some movement within that. All right. So instead of going, I'm going to go to the gym on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday, because that's what I normally do when I'm at home, we have to take into account what day we're traveling, what day we got, a conference all day, and we're gonna be out in the evening. Like, all of this needs to be taken into account, and we have to put and plan our sessions and other things into realistic days within the week. Okay, we don't just stick to what we've done at home because that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to have a routine that doesn't change. That's not going to be possible. All right. And so you can move them all around. It's always good to plan it, and things may still need to change, but that's totally normal, and we have to come to expect that, right? Number two is you have to prioritize our important tasks earlier in the day and earlier in the week. Okay, so in an ideal world, we have our, say, 3 sessions: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If we need to push something back, we've got the weekend as that kind of go to, as well as steps. We want to try and do a significant portion of our steps before the workday even starts. That should be a non-negotiable. Try and aim for, in an ideal world, depending on the kind of job you do and how sedentary it is, aiming for 50% of our daily steps before the workday starts is awesome, and you will really struggle to not move forward and hit your goals if you're doing that. All right. The gym after work is again a dangerous thing. If we've got days to play with because we've shunted our gym sessions into the kind of earliest the part of the week, that's okay. But often flights will be delayed. A last minute dinner will come up. A client will want to take you out. Maybe there's traffic, or energy after a long day is just sapped, and we know we're not going to perform well, and maybe resting is a kind of better option to go for. All right. But if we do it before work, if we do it before we travel, it's done, and it can't be affected. And the same applies for hitting our protein goal, doing it as early as we can, making sure in the day we start the day right, we get things included. We have to win early, all right, because it sets us up to win. You're giving yourself the best chances of winning by doing it and getting it done earlier in the day. Number three, becoming good at replanning. Like, this is a skill, right? This is a skill that you have to practice. Most people are good when things go to plan, all right? Planning and fulfilling that plan is one thing. But with men who travel, and from my experience and the experience working with all the guys that I have done, the guys who really make the most amount of progress are the ones that can adapt. Yeah, can adapt, detach their emotions, and think logically in those moments, not throw everything out the window as a result, but you can think logically, as I said. So like a cancelled flight or a flight delay won't be a problem. It means we just move things around. Again, detach our emotions. It doesn't have to be the full day is ruined. This is a skill. And doing this in our head, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, it's lingering. It'll be. There it is. Excuse me. Um, as I said, this is the best skill. Instead of panicking, the whole day's out the window. We have to decide, right, what is the next best option? Okay. And hopefully, the way we plan the week, we will have an easy and obvious next best option. All right. And doing this in our head as well is going to be impossible. We have to have it on paper, in a calendar, visual. For most people, anyway, that works best. Definitely for me, it works best. Fourth thing, we have to separate the event from the story, from the emotions. As I just said, if something happens, we can easily create a story around that, like what that means. Because we haven't been able to do this, we can spiral. What's that going to mean? Which then means this, which then means that. All right. We need to change the way we deal with a hiccup. So, in the event of a flight getting delayed, the story we can then create in our head is, now I can't train. This whole week is ruined because I'm not going to be able to get in all my sessions. And I may as well just start again on Monday. That is going to damage the progress you make. It's going to delay the progress you're after. And, when we find ourselves in this situation, it's giving ourselves the opportunity to learn how to deal with this better every single time, continually improve our approach. And it's also giving you the opportunity to prove to yourself that you are getting better. You are being more disciplined. You are managing things better. And ultimately, real-time feedback like that is going to tell us a lot about how you're getting on with this journey and how we're improving our situation so that when we get to where we want to be, we're going to be set up to stay there. Number 5, stop looking for perfect weeks. Yeah, this is huge. And most men who travel for work, they judge their week, or they judge themselves against a perfect week that they're never actually gonna have. Like, that is just not realistic. We're never gonna be there, Or we're judging ourselves against a friend's week about how consistent they were with their diet, or somebody else in the program that they're in. We cannot compare our reality to somebody else's reality, or to a reality that would be ideal in our head. Okay, because what we're going to do, we're going to be judging ourselves. We need to judge ourselves against our actual circumstances instead of that imaginary week that doesn't have any travel. Yeah, against when there's no social events, when there's no dinners, no work commitments. We always want to, and remember this, we always want to compare the week to a version of our most difficult week, always to a travel week. We always want to that needs to be the bar. So the bar is nice and low, and we're going to continually improve that. All right. We always want to compare our week to a really tough week, because ultimately we always want to show up and see the results better than the results we would get during our toughest weeks. Number 6 is learn to win ugly. And I love this one, because it's all about gritting your teeth, grinding it out. It's not going to be pretty, but we just got to get it done. If we want that result, there will be periods, there will be days, weeks where we just have to get it done. And it's not going to look pretty. We're not trying to be perfect. It's just to avoid completely throwing things out the window and inevitably ending up back at square one and having to restart this over and over again. And it's very possible that that's what you've done or been doing up until this point. So sometimes success might look like, just a makeshift hotel gym workout. It might be just getting 75% of your daily steps done, or just a lower target. We're not trying to hit this magical 10,000 number that everybody speaks about. We're trying to hit something that's realistic, but it's going to maybe push us just a little bit. All right. And if we haven't done that by the end of the day, getting out, finding a reason to get out and push yourself, do it. Just get it done, grind it out. Or if we don't achieve some targets we have for one day, getting out and doing more the following day, making it count, making up for it, finding a way. Okay. Because everybody will have setbacks, but the people that succeed are the ones that are going to find a way and grind it out when those setbacks come up. Okay, they're the most disciplined, the most hardworking people, and ultimately they're going to get the best results. Um, and sometimes winning in an ugly way is not. It's not going to be kind of ideal. We're not getting the ideal outcome, but it's still progress, and any progress is still progress. All right. Number 7, we have to create anchors instead of looking for that routine, because realistically, routine implies that everything is going to be the same every day. And that is simply not the case. It's simply not possible for men like you, for men like me, the guys in the program. Like, no 2 week in a row is very rarely going to look the same. Okay. And so we have to kind of acknowledge that that's not possible. And if we're always aiming for a routine, a perfect week, a week exactly the same as the previous week, we're never going to be successful. And if we're chasing a goal in our head that we can never 100% fulfill, we're going down a dark pathway of kind of never really feeling good about what we're doing week to week. All right. So the anchors need to stay consistent wherever we are. Yeah. That's what we can keep consistent. As an example, like a protein based breakfast that wherever you're at home, whenever you're in a hotel, whether you're in a motel or in an Airbnb, you can get this or create this wherever you are. And it might look different. The routine might look different. It might not look perfect, but we can still create that anchor. A morning walk, wherever we are, we can have that as an anchor. It might be in an airport, we might be at home, or we might be kind of in the middle of the desert. You know, there's numerous kind of examples, little things like having a glass of water before each meal. You know, having it before coffee in the morning. These kind of things, weighing in every opportunity that you have. You know, at some point during every week, finding a way, and these create familiarity when the environment around us is changing. And as many kind of familiar actions and anchors as we can have per week is gonna put us in the best position possible to continually show up and build our unique version of a routine, because that, as I said, that perfect routine is just very unrealistic. Number 8 is stop negotiating with yourself. Traveling men spend too much time wasting energy, spending too much energy deciding on what to do, how to do it, how to react to this certain situation, right? Should I wait? Stop asking yourself questions. Should I train tonight, or should I try and do something tomorrow? Should I try and wait and see what access I have when I get there, or should I be looking this up? Should I be booking something in? Should I be checking the menu beforehand? All of this kind of stuff, right? And the more decisions that we can make in advance, the less likely you're going to make a poor decision in any given moment, right? The less willpower you need in that situation. And we know, and it's probably a big part of why we're not where we want to be, willpower is not gonna save us. It's not we can't rely on the willpower anywhere near as much as we think. Yeah, so having those non-negotiables, those non-negotiable decisions that we pre-make, and they don't change, just the time in which we kind of make them, and we stop trying to do different things all the time, that's what we have to focus on. All right. Number 9, identity over your kind of circumstances. So what I mean by this is, like, the most successful clients that I've worked with, they stop trying to be healthy. They stop trying to be the type of man. They stop trying to be, where am I? They stop trying to be, a kind of person. They stop labeling themselves as I want to be an athlete, or I want to look like this person. And instead they start saying, I'm just going to be the type of man who finds a way in these difficult situations, does the absolute most that I can in any given situation. even if the hotel is rubbish, even if your flight is delayed, even if your schedule changes, the identity doesn't. You're always going to be the man who's trying to do their best, who's always going to deliver on the things that they can control in any given moment, environment, situation. All right? You're not going to be the man who has to eat chicken or like a lean, clean protein and a salad for every meal when they're traveling. Like, you're not going to be the man who puts these labels or limitations on what they do. You're just going to be a man who finds ways to make it work as often as they can. We try and be as perfect as we can, knowing that we can't be perfect all the time, and we just try and make the best decisions in any given moment. All right? That way you're taking the pressure off yourself, because we sometimes, again, going back to the get it done even if it doesn't look pretty, we will struggle to deliver on what we're saying we want to do. And then if we find ourselves struggling to deliver, struggling to tick that box as if we've completed it and check that kind of task in our head, if we're not physically feel like we're doing the right things because of these unrealistic expectations, tasks we've set ourselves, we're going to struggle to stay positive, to stay motivated, to stay disciplined, to stay in it. Ultimately, you only stop getting closer to where you want to be if you give up, if you take a step back. And we don't want to do that. It's like in sport, right? You may have the best football team in the world and they play the best looking football. All the tactics, the movement, the formations are all perfect. But actually, on the night, it just might not click. It just might not work. And so they have to kick it long. They play the long ball and they do ugly football. And that could be the reason or the difference to them scoring and winning and winning the match. It's not always going to be how we want it to be. We just have to focus on the identity that we carry and understand that, if we can continue that in every circumstance, then we're going to best put ourselves in the best position to do so. Number 10, and the last one, is consistency is a skill. Again, a lot of people think you either have it or you don't, like it's a personality trait, but it's not. It's a skill, and like any other skill, you have to practice, do it, fail, get better and better over time. Yeah, and traveling regularly with work is giving you plenty of opportunities to practice this. And you can't expect to be good at it straight away. It's like if somebody gave you 3 balls and said, "Here, juggle." It's a skill. You're not going to be able to do it at first, but every time you practice, the more you practice, the quicker you're going to get better, and the better you're going to get. And ultimately, you will get to a point, if you continue to practice, that you're an amazing juggler, and you can do it for 5 minutes. And we cannot expect to just have things right. And that's why we, practicing over weeks, months, years, is going to continually improve our approach. And ultimately, when we get to that point where we're very happy with our physique, that's when we want to have developed the consistency so we know how to deal with these situations. And look, the mistake most men make is looking for routine. And I've said it, we cannot continue to look for that perfect routine, and because that's where we're going wrong. Like we're never going to be able to tick that box of I've got the perfect routine, because no week looks the same. We're gonna be forever disappointed. And so instead, we need to develop the consistency over weeks and months and years and get better at that skill. We don't put on a load of weight overnight. So how can we expect to gain the skill of consistency overnight, to be able to undo all the work and all the things that have accumulated to get us to the point where we're at, where we're not happy, we're not as healthy as we should be, we're not as fit. Yeah. And so I want if you want to know how I help my clients do this, how I help my clients go about this, how I help my clients learn the skills over time in a non-overwhelming way, then feel free to click the link in the description of the podcast, of the YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, and or message me over on Instagram at Jacob Connock Coach, and we can have a discussion about your lifestyle, your work travel, and see kind of what that looks like and where best to start in terms of, you know, giving up trying to find that perfect routine and creating some consistent skills, habits that will carry you to the goals that you have. So I appreciate you watching this. Hopefully you found it useful, and I will catch you in the next one.